Abandoned in a foreign land for 30 days. I discovered an amazing new life that changed everything. Sarah stepped off the plane, her heart racing in her chest. The unfamiliar landscape ahead felt like a world away from her small American town. She had left everything, her job, her friends, even her beloved son, because her father needed her. But as she stood under a swirling sky and a cacophony of foreign voices, the weight of her decision pressed down on her like a heavy blanket. How was this her life now? Just days before, she had been juggling her 9-to-5 job and school runs, barely keeping her head above water. Single motherhood and military memories haunted her like ghosts. But family, even the distant sort, demanded a sacrifice. Her father's business was in turmoil. And here she was, thrust into an unknown land without a safety net. Her father's voice echoed in her mind, distant and cold, reminding her of all the times he had been there but not really there. The thought churned in her stomach. She felt abandoned, even while physically standing beside him. The first night in his crumbling apartment, she found him slumped over a desk piled high with bills and remnants of a business gone wrong. Cold dread twisted her insides. Days turned into a swirl of chaos. The language was musical yet incomprehensible. The shops barely had what she needed, and the culture felt like a tidal wave crashing over her. Yet, with each passing hour, the city became a tapestry of unanswered questions and frustrated dreams. Her only companion was loneliness. Then, something unexpected happened. As she navigated the cluttered streets, gut-wrenching frustration slipped into curiosity. A small garage caught her eye, oozing warmth like a hearth. Marco, a mechanic with laughter spilling from his lips, welcomed her in. His kindness was tangible, like sunshine breaking through clouds. The community around him thrived on connection. Each conversation was a thread pulling her in, people sharing stories, food, and laughter. "Wow, this is different," she murmured one afternoon, feeling her tight chest loosen for the first time in ages. Every day brought new insights shared over steaming cups of coffee. Every smile wrapped around her heart like a comforting quilt. They were richer in spirit than she could have ever imagined, and in them, she found a semblance of belonging. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as she began to feel that sense of home, her world crashed again. A frantic phone call shattered her budding happiness. Her father's health was deteriorating rapidly. Panic gripped her heart. Torn between returning to comfort the man who had neglectfully shaped her and staying with the new family she had found, Sarah stood at a crossroads. Her life had been defined by isolation, but laying her foundations in this new community stirred something profound within her. What did it mean to belong? Was home just about familiarity, or was it the people who love you through thick and thin? As she glanced at the supportive faces around her, she wondered if her heart was ready to let go of her past. Only time would tell if she could embrace the love offered freely here. The clock was ticking, and every heartbeat echoed with uncertainty. Would she choose to return to the life she had come from, or dive into the unknown warmth that wrapped around her like a cozy blanket? The sunlight filtered through the cracked windows of her father's dimly lit apartment, struggling to illuminate the reality that loomed before Sarah. She clutched her phone tightly, the frantic voice of her father's assistant still ringing in her ears. "Your dad's not well, come quick." A wave of conflicting emotions crashed over her. Fear clawed at her stomach, but deep down anger brewed. Why should she rush back to save him? He had never been a father in the way she needed. Memories of his neglect buried in the back of her mind flared up like angry flames. Just when she found a flicker of hope, just when the heartwarming laughter of Marco and his friends echoed in her thoughts, the past slammed back into focus, threatening to drown her. "Are you all right?" Marco's concerned voice pulled her from her inner turmoil. Standing beside her, he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, grounding her in the moment. His worry reflected in the warm brown of his eyes. She couldn't help but feel some comfort from his presence. I have to go back to the States," she whispered, fighting the tears. The weight of this choice pressed down. My father is sick. And just like that, the warmth she had sought began to slip away, and her heart sank. I'm so sorry to hear that, he said softly. In that moment, she knew Marco understood, though they hadn't known each other long. There was an undeniable bond forming between them. I don't even know if he really wants to see me. The admission hung in the air between them, heavy and raw. What if I leave this behind? What if I end up regretting it? He stepped closer, his voice low and inviting. Okay, what if we take a moment? Just breathe. They took a seat on a makeshift bench outside the garage, the hum of the city falling away, leaving just the two of them in a bubble of silence. The laughter of children playing nearby blended into the music of their conversation. You know, family dynamics are complicated, he said thoughtfully. But you're not obligated to carry the past. You've got a new path now, a new community. Her heart swelled. In those few words he offered not just sympathy but a glimmer of clarity, illuminating the hidden corners of her mind. Did she owe her father a visit? Did she owe it to herself to seek happiness and connection first? I wish I could just take both paths, she admitted, feeling the power of choice ripple through her. Marco nodded, a knowing smile on his face. Maybe try not to think of it as a choice between two worlds, but rather as adding layers to your life. Your journey here doesn't erase the one from before. There was a conviction in his voice that reassured her, igniting a spark of hope long buried. In the days that followed, Sarah wrestled with her decision. She talked to the friends she had made in this foreign place, sharing fears and dreams. Each interaction deepened her connection to this vibrant culture. Yet, the phone calls about her father weighed heavily, echoing in the silence of her apartment. Finally, the time came when she had to make the call. She took a deep breath, the stakes feeling impossibly high. Would her father even want to see her? Was it worth the risk to embrace the warmth of family she had been searching for? As she dialed, her heart hammered in her chest. Sarah? His voice sounded weak, and she felt a mix of compassion and resentment. Would he remember the sacrifices she had made? Would he acknowledge the relationship they never truly had? But just as she gathered courage to speak, there was a soft knock on her door. Turning, she found Marco standing there, his expression full of concern yet radiating warmth. You doing okay? He asked gently. At that moment, Sarah realized she had to confront not only her father but also her own heart. She had to make a choice that would shape her life from here on out. Did she cling to the past or embrace the promise of new beginnings? As she stepped toward the door, light streaming through behind Marco, Sarah felt something shift within her. It wasn't just about leaving. It was about finding a balance, a bridge, between who she was and who she could be. What awaited her on the other side of that door? Would she have the strength to face her father and confront the truth of their fractured relationship? The weight of her choice loomed heavy, pulsing with fresh urgency. Stepping onto the threshold, Sarah felt a jolt of uncertainty shoot through her. Marco's presence steadied her. He offered a shy smile that seemed to say everything would be okay. Breathing in the salty air, she could almost sense the ocean waves crashing nearby, mixing her unease into something more tangible. Are you ready? He asked, his tone encouraging yet gentle. Sarah hesitated. Her memories crowded her mind like unwanted guests at a party, people she thought she had locked away. What if this trip back only opened old wounds instead of bringing her closure? Ready as I'll ever be, she replied, trying to sound braver than she felt. The words slipped out with a quiver, but she forged ahead. The weight of those phone calls reverberated in her chest. In the car, the city moved past them in a blur of colors and sounds. As Marco drove, a silence wrapped around them, heavy yet not uncomfortable. He didn't prod. He didn't push. He simply held the space for her, an unspoken promise that he would be right there when she needed him. Do you remember the first day we met? He asked suddenly, his smile creeping back into view. You were so lost trying to find that coffee shop. She chuckled, the tension in her shoulders sliding a bit. And you offered to help me like some sort of guardian angel. More like an eager tour guide. He corrected with a grin. But then his expression turned serious. You really have changed so much since then. Deep down, his observation struck a chord. She had embraced newfound independence, forged friendships that felt authentic, and discovered her passion for art. But would those changes stand up against the storm brewing back home? You know, Marco said, breaking her thoughts, it's okay to be nervous. Change is huge. You're not just facing your father. You're facing your feelings about everything. His words settled inside her like heavy stones, but oddly comforting. The truth was undeniable. Every feeling she had about her father was intertwined with every triumph she had embraced in this new life. The drive took longer than she expected, the landscape shifting from the familiar warmth of her adopted home into the colder, harsher realities of a place she once fled. As they approached her father's apartment, the towering building loomed like a dark cloud over her heart. "Do you want me to come in with you?" Marco offered, his voice soft yet insistent. Sarah bit her lip, contemplating. I'm right here if you need me." She stared at the building. Its cracked facade mirrored the turbulence brewing inside her. Could she really do this? Walk back into a place that held so much grief? "Let me just take a minute," she told him, holding a hand up in gratitude. "I'll be okay. I think I need to walk in alone." Stepping out onto the pavement, she paused, taking a deep, calming breath. The weight of her past grated against her resolve, but she straightened her shoulders, blinking against the tears that threatened to spill, familiar feelings surfacing. As she approached the entrance, her heart raced. Would this be different? Could there be a chance for healing? She turned back to see Marco waiting, a reassuring nod lifting her spirits. Pushing the door open felt like an invitation into a different era. What lay beyond that threshold? Would it hurt like it always did? Or could there be a spark of something new, something hopeful? That flicker of hope dangled just out of reach, teasing her like a distant dream. With every step deeper into the apartment, she prepared for the confrontation that awaited her. But would her father even recognize the new Sarah she had become? And more importantly, would the family she longed for finally embrace her? As she made her way down the dim hallway, she caught a faint sound, a cough, weak and hollow. It echoed through the still air, startling her. The moment of truth was upon her. There was no turning back now. What awaited her beyond that door could change everything or send her spiraling back into pain. It loomed before her like a cliff, and she felt the wind shift behind her, pushing her forward into the unknown. Would she leap into the depths of uncertainty, or find solid ground? The door creaked as Sarah pushed it open, revealing an interior shrouded in memory and dust. The smell of aged wood and stale air wrapped around her like a wet blanket. She could feel each heartbeat thumping louder in the silent space. The living room looked as she remembered, yet different. It was cloaked in shadows, as if time had left it stagnant. "Dad?" she called, her voice barely a whisper, quivering as it faded into the stillness. No answer. The soft thud of her footsteps against the floor felt foreign, echoing with every stride she took toward the kitchen. The room that once held so many family dinners now seemed just empty. The table, once bustling and alive, sat barren, covered with dust. She took a moment to steady herself, gripping the edge of the counter, her fingers trembling. Memories flashed through her mind. Laughter, arguments, and loving embraces. Yet they felt so distant now. A flicker of movement caught her attention. There he was, her father, huddled on the couch, wrapped in a blanket that seemed too thin for the chill in the room. His face was pale and gaunt, eyes reflecting a confusion that sent a shockwave through her. "Sarah?" His voice came out rasping, broken, and she feared she might break too under the weight of it. "Yeah, it's me." The words came out softly, as if she were afraid of startling him. She stepped closer, her heart pinching painfully in her chest. There was a part of her that wanted to run, but she pressed on. As he squinted at her, recognition danced in his gaze. "You're back." It wasn't a question, more a statement of disbelief, as if he had summoned her from a dream. "I came to see you," she replied, searching for the right words, trying to hold the weight of everything she had to say. But the moment hung there, like a fragile thread holding them together. He shifted, sitting up slightly. A wariness flickered across his features. "I thought you left for good." The accusation caught her off guard. A jagged edge on an open wound. "I left to find myself, Dad. I needed to grow." The tension in the air thickened, each word feeling like a step on unstable ground. There was so much to untangle, years of hurt and anger, longing and hope. She could hear Marco's voice in her mind, reminding her that it was okay to feel scared. "Do you even know why I left?" she finally asked, eyes not wavering from his. He stared back at her, silence stretching painfully. It wasn't a refusal to answer. It was like he didn't know how to connect the threads of their past with the present. I thought he began but then stopped, shaking his head. It doesn't matter what you thought, Dad. What matters is what's here now. Her voice quaked, swaying with emotion she struggled to keep in check. Just then, a cough erupted from him again. She felt an instinctual rush of concern. Are you okay? Just the dust, he replied, dismissing her worry. But his face told another story. It was tired, and worry lines etched deeper than she remembered. Desperation surged in her chest. They had fought so hard to forget their past, both trying to shield themselves from it. But the truth was they were standing on fragile ground, ready to either break apart or build something anew. Can we talk? She ventured, heart pounding. Can we start over? His gaze softened for a brief moment, but doubt flickered in his eyes. I don't know if I can. Before she could respond, he turned away, looking lost in his thoughts. The familiar feeling of abandonment washed over her, threatening to drown her. Yet she forced herself to breathe. Dad, please. Each word was heavy and laden with everything she had to say. Would he hear her? Could they finally bridge the distance between them? As she watched him, the tension held tight between the two of them. Sarah felt the ground beneath her shifting. Would they leap into the chaos of their emotions, or tiptoe around the edges of their pain? Time seemed to stand still as she waited for his response, terrified yet hopeful. But as the clock ticked softly in the background, she knew they had crossed a threshold, a chance for healing and perhaps a chance for love. What would happen if he opened up? What if they both learned to forgive, to heal together? Would she finally find the acceptance she sought, or would the past consume them both? The moment hung heavy in the air, each second stretching between them like a taut wire, ready to snap. Sarah felt herself swaying, caught between hope and despair. Her father's silence was deafening, a void that sucked the air from the room. Dad. Her voice faltered. The words she had rehearsed so many times in her mind were tangled up in fear. She ached to close the gap, to pull him back from whatever dark place he had retreated to. I came back for you. I want to understand. Can you just be honest with me? His fingers clutched the blanket tighter as if it were a life raft. He didn't look at her. Instead, he stared at a spot on the floor, lost in some memory that only he could see. You'll just leave again. You always do. Her breath caught in her throat. I know I'm not going anywhere. I want to be here right now. Slowly, he raised his gaze, and for a fleeting moment, she saw a flicker of the father she once knew. You think after all this time things can just be okay? The bitterness in his voice hurt her more than she expected. I don't think it'll be easy, Dad. But it can start with talking, with being honest. I didn't just leave. I was trying to find myself, to heal from everything we went through. Her heart pounded in her ears as she tripped over her own words. Why, Sarah? Why now? His expression hardened. A wall erected against her pleading. She hesitated, feeling the weight of years press down on her. Because I need you to see me as I am now, not who I was back then. You shut me out and I thought I could make myself forget. But I can't. I want us to be a family again. Family, he swallowed hard, the word almost foreign. What does that even mean? His voice trembled, and for a moment, she thought she saw tears gathering, shadows of vulnerability clouding his eyes. It means being there for each other no matter what. It means loving despite the hurt and the anger. It means... She took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage. It means forgiving. He leaned back into the couch, a pained sigh escaping his lips. The blanket slipped slightly, revealing an old scar on his forearm. Instantly, she understood the scars ran deeper than those visible on the surface. These years had left marks on his heart too. Forgiving. Is that what we're supposed to do? Just pretend it's all okay? His voice quaked, the accusation mingling with hurt. No, I don't want to pretend. I want us to be real, to start from here. Sarah felt a tear slide down her cheek. If you could just try to let me in, maybe it wouldn't feel so unbearable. He looked down again, heart visibly cracking as he wrestled with those emotions. It's hard, Sarah. You have no idea how hard it is to let someone in when you've lost so much. Her heart ached with understanding. I get that. I really do. But I'm here. You have to trust me just a little. I can't heal on my own. We need each other. For a long moment he simply watched her, the weight of the world reflected in his gaze. Then, like a gentle wave crashing against the shore, He sighed and ran a hand through his hair. What if I can't? Then we take it one day at a time, she said quickly, desperate not to lose him again. Just one conversation at a time. He finally caught her eye, and in that glance, a spark ignited something fragile yet fierce. Okay, but this isn't going to be easy, Sarah. I don't know how to be who I should be. Me neither, Dad. She smiled through her tears, both of them vulnerable yet willing to try. But we'll figure it out together. The tension eased just slightly, as if a tiny crack had opened between them. They were still standing on shaky ground, but it felt solid enough for one small step forward. But just as she began to feel the warmth of hope blooming, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house, a noise so sudden and jarring that both their hearts leaped in alarm. What was that? He asked, panic sneaking into his tone. I don't know, Sarah replied, fear creeping back in. What if whatever made that sound brought more pain? She took a step toward the hallway, heart racing at the thought of a new confrontation. As they exchanged uncertain glances, both of them gripped by dread and resolve, the tension shifted yet again, threatening to spin the fragile moment into chaos. What awaited them in that dark hallway? Would they encounter a possibility of danger? Or would it lead to further revelations waiting to be uncovered? With her heart pounding in her chest, Sarah took a deep breath and moved toward the dark hallway, each step echoing in the silence around them. The crash had sounded like something heavy had fallen, perhaps a shelf collapsing or a forgotten box breaking free of its restraints. She glanced back at her father, who was still rooted to the spot, eyes wide with uncertainty. Stay here, she whispered, though her own voice trembled as fear washed over her. She didn't want to face whatever was lurking behind that door alone, but she couldn't let him remain trapped in this cycle of fear. First, he didn't respond. The soft light in the room dimmed, shadows stretching along the walls, twisting into shapes that felt menacing in the stillness. After a moment that felt like an eternity, he shifted, gripping the arm of the couch as if ready to propel himself forward. I'm coming with you, he said, his voice low and steady despite the fear etched on his face. Something in his tone made her chest tighten with relief. He was choosing to move, to face whatever awaited them together. They stepped into the hallway, the air thick with anticipation. The dim light didn't reach too far ahead, casting elongated shadows that danced menacingly with every flicker. Sarah led, feeling the weight of her father's presence just behind her. A silent affirmation of solidarity. Do you hear that? He murmured, straining to listen. There was a faint noise, a soft scuffling coming from the end of the hall, punctured by the occasional thud. It wasn't violent, but it made her instincts scream for caution. Just stay close, she whispered back, her own voice a soft quiver as she took another step forward. As they rounded the corner, they saw the kitchen door slightly ajar, swinging slightly. The pale interior light flickered, casting shadows that played tricks on her senses. Anxiety twisted in her stomach, but curiosity compelled her to see what was there. Sarah. He started, but the warning hung in the air as she surged ahead. She pushed the door wider, peering into the kitchen. What she found stunned her. Laying on the floor, amidst a scattering of flour and broken dishes, was a beautifully crafted music box. Its lid was open, revealing an intricate ballerina spinning softly, lost in a world of melody. The sound was enchanting yet haunting, mixing with the disarray around it. The broken dishes had come from a shelf above, tipped over in a cascade of chaos, yet the music box remained unharmed. Where did that come from? Sarah's voice was barely a whisper as she crouched beside it, drawn in by the melody. It seemed out of place, innocent among the wreckage of the mess. It looks like it's been here for years, her father murmured, knelt beside her, eyes transfixed by the delicate figure that twirled beneath the glittering lid. As they examined the box together, Sarah's fingers brushed against its polished wood, and warmth spread through her as a sudden memory surged, her mother's laugh, the way she used to sing songs while winding the box. It felt as if the past was reaching out in that moment, connecting their fragmented hearts. This reminds me of Mom, she said softly, her breath hitching. Each note pulled at her heart, evoking love mingled with loss. Yeah, it does, her father replied, the knot in his throat obvious. He looked at her, expression softening as their shared nostalgia filled the air. Maybe she wanted us to remember that joy, even in the darkness. But before she could respond, The lights flickered again and suddenly, the kitchen door slammed shut behind them. They both jumped. "Dad!" she cried, panic leaching back in. But real fear struck as she tried to pull the door open. It wouldn't budge. "Here, help me," he said, focused on the door. But it felt like their connection was being ripped away just when it started to mend. The music box's melody grew louder, swirling around them as the walls seemed to close in. Sarah's heart raced, and in that fight against their sudden isolation, she felt an overwhelming mix of desperation and determination. "We can't lose this chance," she shouted over the music, face flushed with urgency. "Just hold on," he barked, pushing against the door with all his strength. Sarah leaned in, feeling the comforting weight of her father beside her. What if this moment turned into something more than just an echo of their past? Would they find a way out? Or was this the dark truth they had to face together? The world around them threatened to engulf them, but as they strained against the door, one thing was clear. They would fight for their chance at healing, against whatever shadows lay ahead. The loud slam reverberated in the chaotic whirlwind of their emotions. Sarah's hands gripped the door handle tightly, her knuckles whitening as adrenaline surged through her veins. Her father pushed against the door with all of his weight, his face smeared with worry, and her heart twisted. The music box continued its enchanting tune, mocking their struggle, yet it also whispered a familiar sense of comfort that felt dangerously close to an illusion. "Dad, we have to break it down," she urged, panic creeping into her voice. "No, wait," he exclaimed, pausing to catch his breath. "Let us think. There has to be another way." She swallowed, trying to calm the storm inside her. Desperation brewed, but his calm was like an anchor amidst the chaos. He looked around frantically as if searching for an escape route. Maybe their SA window. But the kitchen was cramped, cluttered by memories of their past. The faded wallpaper peeled like old wounds, each tear a reminder of better days. Sarah's gaze fell back to the music box, still spinning, the ballerina gracefully unaware of the turmoil surrounding her. Somewhere within the melody, a thought bubbled up, a memory she couldn't quite grasp, but something told her it held significance. "Dad, the music box," she urged, pulling away from the door, her intuition guiding her. "What if it connects?" He stared at her for a moment, uncertainty dancing in his eyes, then he sighed. Can't be that simple. Maybe it is. Part of Mom is here. Maybe she is trying to tell us something." The words tumbled out, fueled by the urgency building around them like storm clouds. Her father hesitated but nodded, a flicker of hope lighting in his eyes. "'Kay, let us try." Sarah knelt beside the music box again, its tune thrumming in her chest. "What would you do?" she whispered under her breath, praying for guidance from the echoes of her mother's joyful laugh. As her fingers danced over the craftsmanship, she reached for the hidden latch on the bottom, and it clicked open, revealing a tiny compartment. It felt like unveiling a secret, something precious resting in the shadows. Inside lay a folded, yellowing note crinkled with age. Her hands trembled as she pulled it out, unfolding the fragile paper carefully. "Mom," she breathed, heart racing. "What does it say?" her father asked, leaning in closer, his breath warm against her cheek. With trembling hands, she read the familiar handwriting. The ink faded but the love still shining through each curve of the letters. "To my two favorite people, stay close and hold on to each other. You're stronger than you believe." Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes as she sensed her mother's presence wrapping around them like a warm hug. The music swelled, a crescendo of hope. She knew we'd need this," Sarah whispered, astonished by the weight of the revelation. But just then the lights flickered more violently, and the door shuddered as if something unseen was trying to come through from the other side. "Keep reading," her father urged, a tremor in his voice. As emotion churned in her heart, she forced herself to focus on the note, desperate to find a way to translate this gift into safety. "Hold on to each other," she murmured, realizing their bond might be the key to their escape. Suddenly, the music turned into a softer tune, the melody changing its character. It felt like a lullaby, a gentle promise that if they listened closely, they might hear what they needed to do next. "Look, Dad," she exclaimed. "The music sounds different. It's guiding us." But just as they began to feel a glimmer of hope, a loud crack echoed in the room, sending a chill down their spines. "What now?" The kitchen trembled and the door swung partially ajar, a blinding light spilling into the room from the crack, illuminating the shadows. "Do you see that?" Sarah asked, eyes wide. "We have to make a choice." As fear mixed with hope, the music softened again, soothing yet eerily beckoning. Would they step into the light, leaving behind their past? Or would they stay and fight in the darkness? Her heart raced as she looked at her father. What do we do? The moment hung thick with tension, weighing on them as they stood at that precipice, a crossroads that could lead them to healing or deeper into despair. Her father's breath caught in his throat, and his eyes darted between the flickering door and his daughter. In that moment, uncertainty twisted through Sarah's heart. All she wanted was to feel safe again. Maybe, he finally murmured, almost to himself, maybe the light is a way out. But what if it's not? Sarah countered, fear gripping her. What if we get lost in there? The music box chimed a gentle note, as if trying to soothe them. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, letting the melody wash over her like a wave. The warmth of her mother's presence still lingered, prompting a small spark of courage deep within her. "Dad, we've faced so much already. We can't just stand here," she urged, stepping closer to the door. "I can feel her with us, pushing us to make a decision." "What if the choice is wrong?" he asked, his voice almost breaking. "We'll never know unless we try." Sarah shot back, gripping his hand. "Together, remember? That's what she said. We're stronger as a team." The light grew brighter, bathing the kitchen in a golden hue that felt like warmth after a long winter. They exchanged a glance, a shared moment that conveyed all the worry, pain, and resilience they had nurtured over the years. "Okay," he whispered, holding her gaze firm. "Together." With a shared nod, they walked towards the light, leaving the chilling echoes of their past behind. It felt like stepping off a ledge, out of the familiar safety and into an abyss of the unknown. Just as their feet crossed the threshold, an enormous rush of wind pushed against them, and the door slammed shut behind. "Hold my hand." Sarah tightened her grip as they moved forward. The light enveloped them completely, blinding for a moment, and she felt time stretch. Everything faded away, the sound of the music box, the weight of the crumbling house. All that remained was the warmth of her father's hand. Then silence. When the light finally dimmed, they found themselves standing in a vibrant meadow filled with wildflowers dancing in the breeze. It looked like a scene ripped straight from a storybook. Birds chirped merrily, and the sun cast a golden glow over everything. It felt peaceful, almost surreal. "Where are we?" Sarah breathed, surveying the landscape in wonder. "I don't know," her father replied, spinning slowly to take in all the sights. "But it feels right." They took a few cautious steps forward, filled with an uncanny sense of possibility. "Do you think this is Mom's world? Is this her way of saying everything's going to be okay?" Just then a soft voice drifted through the air, gentle and melodic, just like the music box. "Welcome home." Sarah's heart raced as she turned towards the source of the voice. There, standing beneath a grand old oak tree, was a figure shrouded in light. Instinctively, she felt a connection deep within her, as if she had known this person all her life. "Mom?" Her voice trembled, filled with disbelief. The woman stepped closer, glowing brighter. "Sarah, it's time to remember." The moment hung heavily in the air, brimming with anticipation and mystery. What did it mean to remember? What secrets would be revealed in this enchanting new place? And what awaited them beyond this threshold of hope? With her heart racing and hope igniting deep within, Sarah knew they were just beginning this incredible adventure. But would they find solace or something else entirely? "Sarah, it's time to remember." The words floated like a breeze through the meadow, wrapping around Sarah's heart and filling her with warmth. She felt a rush of emotions: love, wonder, and the tiniest flicker of apprehension. This was her mother, standing before her not as a memory, but as a presence woven from light and hope. As her mother approached, closer than ever, Sarah's mind raced. She longed to leap into her arms, to feel the familiar embrace that had always made the world feel safe. But there was something unspoken holding her back. "Mom, is it really you?" she whispered, the weight of longing heavy in her voice. "Yes, my sweet girl," her mother replied, soft and soothing. "I'm here, and I've been waiting for you both." Her father stepped forward, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "After everything you've returned to us." The tremor in his voice revealed a deep vulnerability, a man grappling with hope against the shadows of loss. What is this place? He asked, glancing around the vibrant meadow that felt alive, with colors so vivid they took his breath away. Is this where you've been? Her mother smiled, her light shimmering under the canopy of the oak. This is a reflection of our love, the essence of our family. It's where lost memories can be found. Lost memories? Sarah echoed, struggling to grasp the concept. Her mother stretched her hand out towards Sarah. Here you can remember the moments that shaped you, understand the connections that endure. Fear not, my dear. Everything you seek is within you. Sarah felt a pull, an irresistible urge to embrace her mother. But as she approached, memories flooded her mind: sunlit afternoons in the park, laughter shared during family dinners, and the soft sound of her mother reading bedtime stories. Each memory flickered like stars against the backdrop of some forgotten night. But I don't remember everything. What if Sarah's voice trembled with the weight of uncertainty? Do you trust me? Her mother asked, her gaze steady and reassuring. Taking a deep breath, Sarah nodded, feeling a profound sense of connection surge within her. I trust you, she said, feeling the fear slowly ebb away, replaced by the warmth of that familiar love. Then let it unfold, her mother guided. We'll walk together and I'll show you. Hand in hand, they began to wander deeper into the meadow. With each step, the vibrant blooms around them transformed into scenes from Sarah's life. A glimpse of her first day of school, shy but excited. The glimmer of fireworks from a family celebration. The day they planted a tree together, each moment sprung to life, rich with laughter, love, and learning. See, her mother encouraged, her voice a guiding melody. Every piece of you is still here, waiting to be embraced. As they moved, Sarah caught sight of her father behind them, a light of courage shining in his eyes. He marveled at the unfolding memories, the tapestry of their lives woven together before him. Together, he said softly, the word encompassing both joy and a shared understanding of loss. Yet beneath that happiness lurked a hint of worry. What about the hurt? The unanswered questions that had haunted their past? Suddenly, the vibrant colors began to dim, signaling a shift in the air. Shadows danced at the edges of the meadow, whispering reminders of their realities outside this beautiful realm. Mom, what happens when we finish remembering? Sarah asked, goosebumps raising on her skin. Her mother paused, looking solemn for a moment. You will learn that remembering isn't just about the past. It's about healing, moving forward, and finding the strength to face what lies ahead. The journey is just beginning. As they ventured further into the depths of memory, Sarah sensed the pull of uncertainty once again. Would they truly find the strength to confront their past? Or would the shadows cast by lost memories darken their path once more? The air thickened with anticipation, and Sarah felt the gentle pressure of her mother's hand, brimming with promises yet to unfold. And at that moment, her heart raced with questions echoing in her mind, leaving her yearning for answers. What would she uncover as they dared to tread into the heart of truth? The memories swirled around them, vibrant and palpable. Sarah's heart raced with excitement and trepidation, every moment igniting a spark of familiarity. I remember that day, she exclaimed, pointing to a scene where she and her mother were picking apples at a sunlit orchard, laughter echoing through the trees. Her mother smiled, eyes glistening with love. Those moments remind us of who we are. They built the foundation of our family, Sarah. As they wandered deeper, her father joined them, his eyes wide with wonder. I remember that trip to the lake, he said, motioning to the scene where they once splashed in the water, creating ripples of joy that seemed to dance across the meadow. We were a family then. And for the first time they stood together, united by the warmth of shared reminiscences. But as they continued to delve into their past, unease lingered at the edges of their joy. What about the hard times? Sarah asked. The pain? Her mother turned somber, the light dimming slightly as she spoke. The hard times are part of our story too. Embracing those moments is key to healing. Together we can face them. With newfound resolve, they stepped into the next memory where Sarah saw the shadows of arguments and misunderstandings rise between her parents. Her heart sank, the weight of that lost connection flooding back. Why did it have to be so difficult? She whispered, feeling tears prick at her eyes. Her father's voice trembled. I thought I had to be strong, to shield you both from the mess I had made of my own life. I didn't realize that pushing you away only made things worse. Or that shutting myself down wouldn't keep you from feeling abandoned. Her mother added, pain evident in her tone. We made mistakes all the time wishing to be better. I wanted a family, but I was too scared to be vulnerable, her father admitted, shame clouding his expression. I was lost in my own darkness. The shadows thrummed with tension, almost as if they were searching for acknowledgement. But a flicker of hope burst forth. But we're not lost now, Sarah spoke softly, determination filling her heart. We're here. We can do this together. Her mother nodded, tears shimmering like stars in her eyes. Yes, it's never too late to reconcile. We can work towards a brighter future. Drawing strength from that bond, Sarah felt the embrace of both her parents enveloping her in love. I want us all to heal, she vowed, wiping tears from her cheeks. To share the pain and not let it define our lives anymore. They took a step toward each other, the light growing stronger, enveloping them in warmth. Together they focused on the memories that mattered, the love they had once shared, the laughter that echoed in the air, and the dreams that intertwined their lives. Let us create new memories, her father said, voice steady with newfound strength. Let us build a future based on understanding and love. With every shared smile, every peal of laughter, new memories blossomed like wildflowers in the meadow. They painted their journey, weaving together laughter and hope, and in that tapestry, they saw reflected their commitment to healing and connection. But then a breeze stirred, carrying with it a whisper of uncertainty. What happens when we leave this place? Sarah asked, brow furrowing with concern. Will we go back to the darkness? Her mother stepped forward, hand resting reassuringly on her shoulder. The essence of this place is within you. You will take it with you into the world beyond. Remember, it's in the love we nurture that we find strength. As these words settled in her heart, Sarah felt a pulse of warmth spreading from her chest to her fingertips. They were ready for healing, for forgiveness, for a journey together. Together, her father echoed, as if the weight of those words transformed the air around them. Their presence entwined, united in purpose, they stepped forward into the fading light. With every stride into the shimmering boundaries of the meadow, a sense of clarity emerged. They would face the unknown together, armed with a love that anchored them in a fleeting world. And as they crossed into the horizon, Sarah felt an overwhelming rush of hope. Skepticism clung to the edges of her heart. Yes, but now it was joined by the warmth of possibility. The realm of memories faded gracefully, yet echoes of laughter and promise surged through her veins. When the vibrant landscape gradually dimmed, she opened her eyes to find herself back in the quaint apartment, her father's hand still resting in hers. He looked more alive than ever, no more shadows haunted his eyes. She turned toward him, tears shimmering anew. But this time they felt lighter, filled with hope. We did it, she whispered, the weight of joy suffusing the air between them. Together they could build something real. Not stuck in the shadows, but stepping boldly into the light. Let us start now, her father said, voice a sweet melody echoing their shared resolve. One step at a time. With radiant smiles they embraced tightly, the past melding into the threads of their renewed family tapestry. There was a soft ringing in the air, a reminder of the music box, a call to honor their journey together, a new beginning. As they stood in that cozy apartment, warmth draped around them like a beloved blanket, Sarah knew the journey ahead would not always be easy. But with their hearts aligned, they had everything they needed to transform pain into love and grow together as a family. You don't just break from your past. You learn to carry and cherish it, stitching together a future filled with understanding. And in that moment, Sarah felt more at home than she ever had before, intertwined with love and hope, ready for whatever lay ahead. Now this is your moment to cling to these stories that inspire transformation. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Hit that like button now to help the algorithm show everyone the power of resilience. Leave your comments below sharing your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let us talk about it together. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand how important it is to support this channel. Let us keep the momentum going.